Anna Yoga Studio. I wanted to talk today about Tadasana, the cornerstone of all of the asanas in yoga. And so we're going to be doing a series of Asana Clinics, what we typically do in our teacher trainings. And I want to invite you to come along with us to learn the deeper aspects of the physical postures of the 8 limbs of yoga. So we'll begin today in a standing position. So we start off in samastiti, equal weight on both feet. And a lot of yogis will touch the big toes in their traditional sense. The heels are leveled with the knees under the hips. But I tend to like the big toes pointing straight forward to give myself plenty of room for when I do forward folds. So it's a matter of preference as to whether or not you would like to have the big toes touching or not. Just know that in some traditions, particularly the Iyengar tradition, they prefer to have their toes touching. So samastiti, equal weight on both feet. We root down into all 3 corners of the feet. So the calcaneus, the heel, is pressing in about 70% of your weight, and the balls of your feet are at about 30% of your weight. Really paying particular attention to the mound just behind the big toe. In doing this, this will help lift the arches of the feet. There's actually 3 arches in the feet, and the main arch that typically falls for people tends to be activated or lifted when we root into the big mound ball of the foot. So always working from your foundation up is the most important. And this is where we make our base as wide as possible. So we separate the toes widely. And working our way up, we root down into the heel and we lift the calf muscles up. So the calf muscle is nice and tight. We lift the kneecap so the thighs are engaged, and you're feeling the tailbone drop. You're not so much feeling a tucking under of the tailbone, but just a drop of the tailbone. Softening in the belly should be the energetic action of softening. So you're relaxing the belly so you can breathe deeply. And as you focus on the waist down, you'll notice that it's a very yang type of quality. It's very strong. And this is the quality you want to feel in all of your standing asanas, particularly balancing postures. So as you root, we root to rise. So we're kind of chronally separating the body from the waist down and the waist up. So from the waist up, you're going to feel that brightness and an expansion up through the spinal column. The collarbones are going to be wide, and the shoulders are going to be back and level with the ears, palms facing out. Now there's what's called the kidney loop that Anusara yogis talk about, and the loops and spirals are a beautiful way to help translate what you should feel in the body as you come into different postures. So it's not so much about just making different shapes for the body, but where are you sending that energy in each of those different shapes? And they all have different ways of affecting your subtle energy, your physiological energy, and your anatomical energy. And we even align the skeletal system throughout some of these asanas. This is a beautiful asana to practice to help with fallen arches, with vertigo. It's very stabilizing. If you're in a very difficult point in your life and you feel uncertain, this will bring about a little more confidence. The way we hold ourselves in a body is the way we typically feel in our mental and emotional bodies as well. They're not separate. They're all connected. So with Taoism, the yin-yang expression is felt in the body as well. So if you want to think of from that facet of this beautiful pose, you can think of the waist down as being yang, very, very strong and active. But from the waist up, it's very yin. It's very open, bright, and expansive. You're even feeling like there's an invisible string pulling you up through the crown of your head as you relax the shoulders down the backs of your ribs. The back of the head ever so slightly lifts as the chin ever so slightly tucks, and the ears again are level with the shoulders. Now, one thing that I find a lot of students do is drawing the rib cage out, and this is what's called a oh, a loosening of the energy that you could be drawing in. You're kind of leaking that energy out. So in order to draw that in, particularly in the area where we're said to hold our power, take your finger and draw the bottom of the rib cage in. Try not to lose the integrity of the hip area or the wideness of the chest as you draw that in. And you'll feel the energetic quality of this. So take about 5 to 6 deep breaths in that. Notice how that feels. There are several things you can use to help to feel out this asana with a block and a strap. If you have difficulty with standing, if you have a broken leg, or if you have real difficult issues with vertigo, you can practice this lying down on the floor or even standing up against the wall. So there's a lot of different options. In order to feel it a little more deeply and to focus more on proper alignment of the foundation, say you have a student who has fallen arches. What happens when the arches fall? What happens to the knees? They're not going to go out, but they're going to go in. You'll notice that just the fallen arches will affect the knees, which affects the hips and affects the lower back. So foundation is everything. So working on making your feet healthy is a very important aspect in yoga. So we're going to take a block, place it in the upper part in between the thighs, and in order to engage your Tadasana, we separate the toes widely. We root into the 3 corners of the feet. That's called the Pada Bandha, the foot lock. And we hug the legs in. See if you can inwardly spiral the thighs to where this comes out like a pez in the back. And then once you inwardly spiral the thighs, you drop the tailbone. So just feel that energetic energy. And then we can take a strap. So some yogis like to use a strap, some yogis don't. Just squeezing the thighs around the block can be enough for them to really feel that energetic action. But if you're working on scoliosis, people that suffer from scoliosis or any other type of abnormalities in the spine can really benefit from just standing in Tadasana. Standing in Tadasana can align your skeletal system and train your skeletal muscles to hold your skeleton differently. So it's all a matter of that muscle memory. So it's recommended that if you do wish to address issues specific to fallen arches or knock knee or back issues, back in alignment, one hip's higher than the other, one shoulder's higher than the other, and that's usually typical of most people and how we ergonomically carry ourselves throughout the day or sit at a computer all day. So again, we reestablish our Tadasana. We feel that integrity, and breathing like this for at least 2 to 5 minutes a day can really help to bring that integrity back into the skeletal muscles. And it can remind them that, yes, this is how I need to hold my skeleton. So breathing into this, we find our sthiram sukham, that steadiness and comfort. And we find that through the breath. The breath is everything in yoga. So we inhale deeply, feeling The accessory muscles expand and rise in the belly and the chest. And then we exhale through the nose, feeling the chest, ribs, and belly descend back down and in, and engaging in that ujjayi breath. So the ujjayi breath is constricting the pit of the throat in order to help warm the body from the inside out and calm the nervous system. This will also help gain confidence and feeling a little more grounded. And it raises your energy. So that's it for Tadasana for today. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave a comment. If you can like and subscribe to our channel, that would be amazing. We would love to hear your comments and any other questions you might have. So again, this is Chris. Thank you for joining us, and thank you for practicing Tadasana with us.